how to build a huge dog kennel with a roof and a yard for almost nothing. I'm filming this on my phone because I'm still getting refreshed with my video software. So we just completed a kind of big kennel build, and I'm going to show you guys how we did it and how you could do it for roughly $600 for one dog. So over here I have compiled a list of supplies that we used. This is one of the main parts of the design. This is a 16-foot by 50-inch galvanized cattle fence panel. You can get them at Tractor Supply. We purchased 12, and you can see the price for that. Plus we got a discount for Veterans Day. Then you'll need these T-posts. You can get those at Tractor Supply, and you can see the price for that. And these deck screws, I'm sorry, not deck screws, these roofing screws. And roofing tin. And I said deck a minute ago, this is deck block. And this is one of the main pieces of this design. It's gonna keep your kennel from your animal pushing it around. And then you have your 4x4. We tried to do it with a 6-foot high and an 8-foot high. I'd recommend just going 8-foot high and cut the ones on the back. And then of course you have your lumber. The trick here with lumber is to get the number 2 grade. Don't get the top grade. It's just gonna be outside anyway. So get weather treated, but get it number 2. That way you'll get it cheaper. And go in and check the boards yourself. Pick out your own boards because sometimes they sell warped boards and you want to check them. And then down here, we didn't have to buy these because we already had stuff, but this is just a couple of options for fence panels. Okay, let's go over to the spreadsheet here. For our kennel build, we got 3 tons of sand with delivery. And all these prices, let's just say it's an estimate, give or take a little bit. I'm not a professional contractor. My estimates are 3 tons of sand with delivery for $230. Sand for us has made a wonderful floor. I realize that we might need to upgrade to concrete with a drain or something when we become large enough to become a licensed kennel, but for right now, it's wonderful. It's sort of like cat litter, so they can kind of cover up their mess that they make, and it's super easy to clean up. It's easier than having straw, which we've tried. It's much nicer for them than having a mud pit because Mastiffs are hard on grass. And then it's much nicer than just having concrete, in my opinion, if they don't have a potty yard, because pee just soaks right down into it, and then poo they can kind of cover up. All right, we actually did not use all of this sand in the build either, but we probably could have. All right. 16-foot by 50-inch galvanized cattle fence panel for $36.99 a pop. That is one of the main products that you will be using. You can get them at Tractor Supply, and that's the hack right there. Instead of spending, let's see, if you got the high quality 10x10 panel without a door from Tartar, it's $299.99. So yes, this is a little bit shorter at 50 inches, but it's still plenty high enough for a Mastiff. And if I had it to do over again and I didn't have what I already owned, $36.99 compared to almost $300, that's a steal. You just have to put a gate in it. Thank God we didn't have to put the gate in, but if you don't already own gates like we did, you can figure it out, a small price to pay. All right. 6.5-foot studded T-post with anchor plate for $6.29. I accidentally ordered ones that were too short. We had to return them and go back and get these ones. Roofing screws, we got 2 boxes of those for $14.98. Roofing tin, $29.98. And you don't need to go super expensive, but definitely skip the plastic because you want something that's going to hold up under snow. So we just did the cheap tin. By the way, we got 12-foot lengths because our kennels are 10x10 and we wanted to do a slope. And remind me to show you the design that we did. All right, deck block, that's another main portion of this design, $668. And let's see, 4x4s. We did 6-foot and 8-foot. You can see the prices there. Then you'll have 2x4s. You want to get number 2 grade to save a little bit of money there, but get pressure treated. And then here is prices for things that we didn't have to buy because we already owned. The Tartar dog kennels, the 10x10, super high quality, definitely recommend if you can afford it, but ridiculously priced at almost $300. They sell them with and without the door. And then I used chain link because I had it. I had found mine on sale for around $100 per panel with a door in it. However, my Mastiffs have just torn it up, and we've had to constantly be fixing the fence when they got out. The chain link has a weakness at the bottom because it's not welded on there. So if you get chain link to save a little bit of money, but not this much money, but if you do want the full 6-foot high panel rather than 50 inches, and you want to save a little bit of money, you're just gonna have to reinforce it at the bottom. All right, and then hardware, I estimated a couple bucks. I don't know what it would cost you because we didn't have to buy hardware. We just used what we had, and they pounded it into the correct shape. Then I have a list of how many we purchased of each thing here. And then our price. So roughly, we would have paid, come on, screensaver, without a discount, roughly $1,592.64. But we got stuff on Veterans Day, so if you consider a 10% discount, that brings it down under $1,500 to $1,433.38. And if you divide that by 3, that's about $477.79 for one kennel. Now it's not going to be exactly that, but that gives you a rough estimate. All right, so if you use the edits that I'm going to suggest, you would be spending roughly $601.20 for a kennel with a solid roof, a sand floor, and then an outside yard that's about 50 by 16, give or take. So you'd purchase the sand, of course. The fence panels, you'd have to calculate how big you want your outside yard to be if you're only gonna do one. The outside yard would be like their potty yard, so they don't have to potty in their living room. All right, you would still purchase the T-post, although you could probably get away with less because we did have leftovers. We used trees in the woods, and that kind of helped to replace T-posts. And the guy also gave us a couple extras. All right, roofing screws, you would still buy those. You would buy the roofing tin. Deck block for sure. I need to show you guys this in action. This is an amazing idea. You drop a 4x4 into the deck block, and then you anchor your kennel to that so that your dogs can't push it around and escape. You would skip buying the 4x4 that's only 6 foot high because they had to rig up something to make it work. So I would say just spend the extra money, buy the 8 foot high 4x4s, and then cut the ones that are on the back for the pitch of your roof, which you can see later. Okay, so the 2x4s, what I would recommend if I was gonna do this and I did not already own these super expensive 10x10x6 panels, I would say get extra of these cattle fence panels, and I forgot to count extra in the price. Let me try this. Let's see here. Say 22, add 10 extra there. I would recommend adding cattle fence panels in place of these things down here. But if you do that, you're gonna have to craft your own gate because I don't have a gate for these in the plan quite yet. I would say you could probably cut them. You could probably use some hardware and frame out a door with the 2x4s and use some hardware for the hinges and for the lock. And you could probably make some doors if you're willing to invest the blood, sweat, and tears. So I just have upped this to 22. I also added in extras of these 2x4 by 12 foot because you're gonna need 2x4s to frame out your doors. And then you wouldn't have to buy these super expensive things right here. And I added extra hardware because you would have to buy the hinges and the lock. So your price would be roughly $724.50 for one kennel. It would have a sand floor, it would have a tin roof, and it would have a potty yard. So they wouldn't have to go to the bathroom in their 10 by 10 living room. In addition to this design, we have dog palaces in there, and we like to have them up on pallets to keep them out of any moisture. We fill them with cedar shavings. The dog palaces, I think you can maybe find on Chewy. They were a little bit expensive. I want to say 500 and some a pop. They've lasted us a while. You can put heaters in them that are temperature regulated. So if you just set the heater at like 55 and you run it on nights that are going to get down below freezing, I consider that like their bedroom. So we got the biggest ones we could find for our giant breed, but it's still like kind of a dog house. They make them smaller so that their body heat can fill up the room. So you don't want to trap them in there all the time. It's like they can come and go, and they can go in, they can turn around. 2 of them can fit in there together if they're snuggling. It's great, and we can heat that. Then they can come out of that and they can step into their beautiful 10 by 10 kennel, which if we had to keep them cooped up, we could keep one Mastiff in a 10 by 10 kennel, and as long as we would let them out to exercise, we could get by. Is it ideal? Maybe not, but they would have room. I consider that like their living room. So let's say their dog box is like their bedroom, heated. They can go in there, sleep, but a lot of the times they'll decide to not be in there even if we're running heat. So they can come out to their 10 by 10 space. I consider that like their living room. It's got a sand floor. If they were to use the bathroom in there, the pee would go right down through the sand and into the ground, which I love. And you could just rinse it down every once in a while with your hose. And the poo is easy to pick up like a litter box. And because the 10 by 10 is under a roof, a tin roof, when the winter comes, it's going to hold off the snow. So they will be able to sit in their living room without snow on the ground and look out at the beautiful weather. And that's good because, again, you don't want your dog trapped in its dog box, and you're not going to have time and energy probably to shovel immediately your whole dog's kennel as soon as the snow falls. Then if they have to go to the bathroom, if they don't have a roof, then that gets mixed in with the snow, and you know how the snow starts to melt, but then it freezes again, and then you've just got a feces and pee infested like ice sheet, and it gets really disgusting. That's why you want a roof over at least a portion of your yard. So the sand-covered living room has a sturdy roof on it that's going to hold back snow and rain. So because it's under a roof, that's where we can keep their feeders. We do offer kibble free feed. We have the largest feeders that you can get. I think you can get them from Tractor Supply, maybe from Chewy. I believe it's Retriever brand. They are a little small. If I had it to do again, I would like to go with the hog feeders that I've seen done at another Mastiff breeder place. That was pretty cool. We have them hung on the fence, so it's like a raised feeder, but you can put extra food in there. That way they never run out. And then, of course, we supplement their food with raw meat and with cooked foods. That's not all they get, but they never have to go hungry because they have kibble all the time. We also have heated water buckets. I bought the ones that we have now. I bought at Entry Garden, which is a Mennonite run store. They're great. So when it gets cold to the point of water freezing, we can plug those in and they will always have water available, which is wonderful. Now, the reason that we have these extra big runs in the back, by the way, for our design, 2 of the dogs are sharing an extra big backyard because those 2 dogs get along, and it enabled us to cut a little bit of the cost right now, and then we can add the extra panels later. So your yard might be a little smaller than ours if you're following this design. So even with the edits that I made, you could still make yourself a covered, sturdy dog kennel that they're not going to break out of, with welded wire and wood and sand, for less than $750. So roughly $724.50 for one dog kennel. So I think that's pretty good, especially considering if you were to go onto Tractor Supply's website and buy a tartar kennel, which is high quality, I'll give them that. That's a 10 by 10 with no floor, no roof, and no backyard. you're gonna pay about $1,000. So this is less than that, and you can help your dog live happy. Signing off for now.